Hey folks, welcome back to another exciting episode of Stay Ahead TV. I'm your host, Austin Wright, chatting right now with President of Sabre Travel Network, Mr. Greg Webb. Greg, how you doing today?
Good to see you, Austin.
Good to see you as well. And I want to talk to you about kind of perspective. Because when I think of Sabre as a whole, because again, I'm an outsider, I think of airline and I think of hotel. That's not quite the whole picture. Can you talk to me about the cruise industry and how that interacts with Sabre?
Yeah, well, actually, we've invested a ton of money, both just money and human capital, in building out our cruise capabilities. It's kind of the key of bringing buyers and sellers together in the travel space. It's been important because cruise has been growing pretty significantly, and as a portion, in fact, packages and cruise now make up about 60% of the leisure business. And so we've been very supportive of the industry, and certainly have been supportive of CLIA and Cruise 360. It's obviously a great organization. What they've done in terms of education and sponsorship in the cruise space has been significant. And so we've been a big sponsor and a big supporter. So we're proud to be here today with both the agency side and the supplier side of the cruise industry.
Excellent. Now, we've also seen an uptick in the last few years across all segments, and you mentioned that cruise is an area that we've seen a lot of growth. What are your thoughts on kind of the future of the cruise industry specifically?
Yeah, it's been interesting because if you go back to kind of 2009, we saw a significant fall off of not just cruise but leisure.
What do you think the cause was from that?
It was the financial crisis. Some of the things that happened just at that time, people felt a little more pinched, and so they spent a little more of their dollars just on the necessities of life. But we've seen a real big rebound in both 2010 and 2011 in the leisure space, which has been great. Obviously, cruise has benefited from that, and so we've seen that uptake. It's been great. Cruise is a complex product, and so it's one of those things that as you're trying to sell a cruise, either to an individual or to a group, it's obviously much more difficult than just the simple, I need a seat on an aircraft flying somewhere. So you have multiple decisions to make, and so it's complex. And so the technology around it has been more complex in the past than perhaps it needed to be for the buyers and sellers of travel. So as we've been putting those together, as investing in the product more, adding content. We'll have 17 cruise lines that are all part of the product at the end of this year, which means that we've got a great depth and breadth of content. And we also have a package and platform that helps both buyers and sellers distribute their product. And the good part about that is it's made it easier for agencies, and certainly it's made it easier for the cruise lines to distribute.
Certainly. And with all the ways that Sabre helps sort of the entire travel industry, it seems that you have kind of a high up advantage or sort of vantage point on the industry. So, I mean, how do you take advantage of that sort of bird's eye perspective on the industry?
I think there's really two things. One is it means we have to stay out in front in terms of our technology and product leadership. And so we invest a lot to try to make sure that we're on the cutting edge associated with those things. The second thing is because of our influence on the overall set of industry standards and things, we try to stay in front and trying to help set industry standards. And with that comes also a role of advocacy. So we've spent a lot of time trying to make sure that we're positioned well and that the industry is positioned well. In fact, Sam Gilliland, our chairman, is on President Obama's advisory board, business advisory board, and has a subcommittee role associated with tourism and travel in that. Secondly, Tom Klein is part of the newly created what is effectively a tourism board for the United States. We've never had a U.S. tourism board which tried to drive travel into the United States. It finally started last year, and Tom Klein, who's our president of the holdings level, is part of that. And so part of it is us trying to make sure that we're advocates for travel, advocates for agents, advocates for suppliers, and in that we spend a lot of time trying to make sure that we're in the mix of that.
Excellent. Well, Greg, thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks, Austin.
Giving some insights to the industry. And folks, thank you for joining us again today. We'll see you next time on Stay Ahead TV.